Hey there, friends. How's it going? My name is Ren,
And I'm Paju.
and welcome back to the After I Failed podcast. It's been a while, Paju. What have you been up to? What have you been failing?
What have I been up to? Well, I'm packing because I'm moving, but also I got COVID, so I guess I survived the plague. But it was not nice because 2 weeks in this heat wave with a fever was not very nice. And who gets COVID during summer? I swear.
That's the worst time to get sick, and just a very unfortunate situation.
So, well, Ren, what is your failure?
Uh, when it comes to recording and doing like these videos that I've been doing lately, I'm no expert. All of this is self-taught, so I do make mistakes, and I think the biggest failure I've had was actually having to do uh, like a second recording, a re-recording of an interview with the game development team, where I completely botched the audio. I had I had two audio inputs, so there was audio layered on top of audio, and every time they would speak, there was a reverb in the audio. And I spent some time trying to clean it up. Did not work out as well as I'd hoped, so they were nice enough to let me re-record. And yeah, we second recording was also solid, and everything was good. And I learned now to actually check the audio recording, and hopefully this one is also very well too, because I did check it just in case.
Well, at least now we know.
All right, so looks like we've got a new guest today on the After I Failed podcast. Here we have Jussi Kenkkilä. Jussi, please introduce yourself and tell us, what have you failed?
I'm Jussi Kenkkilä. I'm a game designer, but I have my background in academia. And what I failed was my PhD.
Failed your PhD.
Yeah,
What are you studying?
I was studying geology and paleontology, specifically
Oh,
mammal molars. This certain molar type. I was looking for parallel evolution of that tooth type.
that's very cool. Kind of
But
interesting that you've fallen into this field.
yeah, how did you end up being a game designer from being a PhD of that?
That's a long story, but mainly I came to game design because I've been uh, role playing and doing tabletop stuff for forever. So since before I started my studies, and already at the university I was picking courses that would be useful for world building.
Mm.
So it was always in the background. I was just kind of trying to uh, do a serious academic career instead of going to something frivolous like games.
Uh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like that's very, very relatable to many
Yeah,
people.
yeah. I mean, I know quite a number of people who their background isn't actually in games, but
Yeah,
myself including.
yeah. I
But
wish there was a way to study game design when I was at the uni, but I'm too old, so that was not a thing.
I don't say that. It breaks my heart for someone like me who still wants to do a bit of studying.
Yeah.
But now you say you failed the PhD. Was this a failure by choice?
No,
Did you
no,
sort of lean into it?
no. It was just circumstances. So what was happening? I took a long time to get my master's, mostly because I was just studying everything else in addition to my major, and doing gaming stuff at the side, running like these hobby game projects, running a zine and running these games for teenagers at this school and all kind of other extracurricular activities. So once I got my master's done, um, I kind of was switching. I did my master's on sedimentology, but already at that stage I was more looking into paleontology because that's kind of more interesting. And for that I went to do some like life sciences, biology and such. And I already had a little bit of problems with the master thesis because I originally started doing it in a completely different topic, I was studying uh, peat in swamps to get some time series. But unfortunately, the main data sets that I was looking for, the people who had already gathered those didn't want to give them to anyone else before they published something. So
Gatekeeping.
yeah, so I had to switch to something else. Luckily, there was a friend who was doing their PhD and wanted someone's help, and we got a new machine, this laser diffraction measurement device, and I was going to be the first user for that to do some sedimentology analysis. And I learned that device. That was the first laser device I worked with. That's been a theme in my career. So I made my master's studying these soil samples from Lantian in central China, and did some wonky analysis on them because I had studied analysis theories on both geology and statistics, but I didn't have the real tools. I couldn't afford the real tools. I didn't have access to real tools. So I was using Audacity to do spectral analysis of time series. I converted my time series into sound files, then analyzed them, and then converted the sound files into 3D graphics using some terrain generation software made for like games.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Creative.
I did what I had to because I didn't know and didn't have any real tools. And that was a problem once I started doing my PhD because I had my all the samples run that I could get my hands on in Finland. So I did 3D scans first with this point scanner, which was really fault prone. This was like a pin scanner where it was actually dragging a pin across the surface to measure the shape. And you can imagine how it will get snagged into every small crevice. And luckily, the biology department had gotten a new 3D laser scanner, so I got a chance to laser scan some of the teeth, or actually the copies of the teeth. The teeth are a bit too bright, they're a bit too shiny, so I had to do these like dental copies of them using this dental plaster. So I ran 3D copies of those, and then was analyzing the 3D shapes to try to get some statistical differences because the thing about the parallel evolution is that I had a certain term that I was looking for, a bilophodonty, which means like two lobes, two edges in there. And unfortunately, in different specializations, the criteria were different. People in like larger ungulates, they were talking about really huge differences where you can really visually see those lobes. And then in primates, the specialists were looking into really tiny differences and saying, okay, these might have these two lobes in here, which meant that they were not really statistically different from anything else. And I was thinking that maybe there's a scaling factor. So if you have smaller teeth, the differences are going to be smaller, and with large teeth, for mammals as large as horses, they're going to be big because the teeth are going to be big. And I didn't have any real analysis tools for this either, so I just got some help from another PhD student who was doing some stuff, just moving data and wrangling from one software to another. First to get the 3D point clouds, then to turn those into shapes, and then putting those into geographic information systems softwares meant for analyzing maps. So you could do point clouds, but only you couldn't have any ledges. So anything that goes below the top, that can't be measured because that's really rare when you're looking at hills and mountains. And all this meant that I didn't have a good pipeline. I didn't have automation in there. I didn't have any good macros program to move the data. So I had to do a lot of data wrangling, just manually copying and modifying data to get it from one software to another, which meant that it was really an arduous way of doing it. It took a lot of manual work on the computer just to get the data analyzed. And there were some other things happening also. That was the time when we had the not the last one, but the previous big economic crash, which was affecting everything. And I think things bouncing into each other. I probably got a little bit of burnout already from the masters, but hadn't realized it, so I was sliding into depression. And then the worst thing happened. I had like a 3-year grant for the PhD, but that was evaluated every year. And whatever I did on my report, they didn't like that, and they discontinued my grant after the first year. Probably because I hadn't published anything. And that was because I didn't have enough data, I didn't have enough results to go for, and also probably because I wasn't integrated into any real research group. I had actually two supervisors for my doctorate, but both of those were pretty busy traveling abroad, doing their field work. So I was just emailing them once in a while. So I wasn't really meeting them, and because I wasn't in a research group, I was just randomly seeing people at the department just once in a while when I was there, looking at the samples or getting help on the IT or just chatting to people. So I didn't really have a support group and didn't have any like real plan on how to go about publishing because I hadn't published anything before. I did my master's just as a monograph, and basically my idea was that I'm just going to be doing a monograph. I didn't really even think about publishing articles. I was just thinking I'm going to do this whole study, publish it as one go, like my master's thesis. And no one really told me that that is not the easiest way to do. If I was in a group, there would probably be in some division of labor, and someone would have told me that okay, take this bit that you've already done, and help this other guy with their work, and combine these, make a paper, get some results done, and publish something. Just publish anything. So then I was out of money, depressed, and unemployed, and still trying to do my work on just like the minimum employment benefits, and yeah, it was hard. And where I finally decided that it's not going to work is that I realized that I had all the samples that I could get from Finland. So to get anything more, I would have to travel abroad. I didn't know what to do, but I realized that I won't be able to continue this. It's too hard, working a lot with no money. So it's not going anywhere. So I just needed to get some money, any money. And for therapy, the advice I got from the health services was that you'll have to find your therapist, and we'll pay for that, but you'll have to find it yourself. Which was like, okay, I can't do it. I just got a list of therapists, but I would have had to contact them, phone them, and get in contact and evaluate them to find out the perfect match, because finding a therapist is not just going for the first one. You need to get a match with personalities and styles and whatnot. So I was without therapy and without money, without PhD, just hanging on, and I decided that I need to get some money anywhere. But what skills do I have? Geology and paleontology. There's not a lot of paleontology jobs in Finland, so it's only academia. That's where they are. So, and Finland is actually the bedrock here is really bad for paleontology. We don't really have a lot of fossils. If someone finds a mammoth tooth, that's like a find of a decade or more. They're so rare. So geology, I had studied some like environmental geology and others. I did start looking for some jobs in there, but wasn't getting lucky. So what I did, I put an ad in the university's internal job board, just like, I want an academic job, any job, just take me. And luckily, I had used some microscopes, so I got an invite to an interview at the medical faculty. They run at that point pretty new core service for microscopy, which just meant that they had gathered all the expensive microscopes in one place, with specific personnel running them and teaching people on using them and training them, instead of having each instrument in each unit, where someone would take it like I did with the laser scanning system, learn how to use it, and teach the next one. And once I was done, left the department, it would be there standing, and someone hopefully would learn how to use it again and to maintain it if they were lucky. And that was what was happening with the microscopes at the paleontology department also. I learned them by some other grad student or PhD student teaching me how to use them, but there was no like planned real maintenance or organized training courses or anything. So pretty haphazard, and they want to avoid this at the medical faculty, so they had this core service. And I went to an interview. Uh, it was a light spot because I was feeling depressed, but I felt that I've used microscopes and I'm enthusiastic to learn, so I was like going to the interview with an idea that I'm getting this job. So once the interview was done, I was like, okay, when can I start? And they said, wait a minute, we still need to interview some other people, so we're not taking you yet. And I was like, okay, well, call me when you decide. And then they took me. Uh, I had some help with the person who was there's someone who was going to do their PhD, so they were going to go part time. So I was going to replace them part time, and they showed me the basics, and then I spent this spring just studying the system, just learning the basics, and by summertime I was able to start training the systems. So that was good. I think I can thank the depression medication because that probably increased the flexibility of my neural network. So I'm a quick learner, but I felt that it was even easier to learn things than before. And the fact that I was forced to go to work every second day meant that I wasn't just laying in bed feeling depressed. So that was also good. That just kind of forced me into activity, and just working and learning new things was my therapy. That's what got me on my feet. So the unit was fun. My colleagues were really cool. I love those people too. So I was doing good and not thinking going back to my doctorate, especially since I was helping people doing their doctorates and seeing the amount of stress that they had. But we were mainly a core service, so I wasn't able to get anything published and wasn't doing anything to get a PhD. And in the university bureaucracy everywhere, positions are tied to academic credentials. So basically, I couldn't get even into that post position even if it was opened again. So there's no way of advancing. So I was going to be stuck in the same position unless I could manage to get a PhD done somehow until my retirement. So it was feeling like a dead end, like the PhD. So then I went for a study leave. Luckily, just as the pandemic struck, so I did some game design studies, all remote, and
Mm-hmm.
I felt really light doing that. It felt good. I didn't have stress. I did all the coursework really fast. At some courses, because they were just converting those to online courses, I was doing them as fast as they were writing them, just waiting, refreshing every day to see if there's new materials. And it was still feeling easy and natural. So I was like, okay, I want to do more of this.
That is quite the journey. Yeah, I feel like it's good that you have such a rich background outside of the game industry. Just given it is what it is right now. But yeah, it's very interesting to see to hear the transition between everything you studied, went to school for, was trained for, had experience in, and then moved into the game industry, which is completely different, absolutely different. It's wonderful and fantastic.
Yeah, but I had done gaming stuff longer than I've studied at the uni or worked there. So yeah, in my mind, the move from paleontology to microscopy was a bigger move. It was academia, but I had only worked on some courses on microscopes. I knew some of the basic optics and some statistics and such that would be useful, but I really had to learn a completely new field. In gaming, I already know a lot of stuff from my hobbies.
So did you feel like it was a natural progression from academia to then game design
No,
later
no,
on?
nothing was natural in it. It was just random chance.
Well,
Gaming was my career choice from microscopy because I knew that in geology, if I don't want to go to mining, which wasn't my like, I didn't study that, so I would have to do more studies. In paleontology, there's not a lot of positions, so not a lot of places. In microscopy, not a lot of places. What else do I know? Games.
how did people react? Did you have people around you being like, "Oh, you shouldn't quit your PhD," or was it
Um,
very much just like, "I'm deciding this and this is my decision"?
no one's really objecting. Of course, my colleagues at the uni were wishing I could continue, but they understood that I didn't have a grant, I didn't have any income, so it's a difficult position. Same applies to like people like my family, so they understood that you need to earn a living somehow. And most of my other friends were from gaming, so for them they didn't really care. So if I was doing something academic, that's something they knew that I was doing. So they assume that it's natural. I'm just going to do some academic stuff because that's what I was known for. And transition to gaming was maybe more of a surprise because people didn't think that I would be a professional ever. I was just doing it for fun.
I think that's the response of many people.
Yep.
Of course, what you said before about the research group really, just really made me remember how of the importance of having a support group
Yes.
or a community around you, how much that can help influence you, guide you, and encourage you when it comes to moving forward in your field of choice or your discipline, as well as the whole therapy thing regarding having to find your own therapist or your own doctor and then actually evaluating them. I've gone down that road too, and also as somebody not from this country,
Yeah.
it's not an easy
Yeah,
task to do at all.
Yeah, I'm happy that I
Yeah.
could find a therapist with my burnout. So there I could find someone who was pretty good, and that was something that I got a little bit from the university uh, health insurance. I got someone like short therapy from there, and then I found a good long-term therapist and got some like government funding to pay part of that. So that was good. So I finally got a therapist after more than 10 years of actually needing it the previous time, and it was good.
I think what really stuck with me as well is a lot of the during your studies and a lot of the experiences you had that kind of stood in your way. The deck was stacked against you. Let's not split hairs here. And you, of course, losing your grant, the depression as well, which talk often enough about depression and burnout, but everybody can relate to it. Um, these things stack against you, and then you end up finding a career in your passion, essentially, something that you have taken part in for longer than you've been studying. You even told me that you attended RopeCon recently as well, which is a great event for game designers and people in the game industry to
I
go. And
I ran games on every Robicon except for that remote one because the remote COVID year was weird. But otherwise, I've been
yes,
there every year running games.
yeah, I've been told that many people, many game designers here in Finland, get their start at RopeCon because they set up their table, they let people play test their games, and yeah, it's an all around fantastic event, and it's nice to see that. Yeah,
Yeah, it got my inspiration going. So this year, once my games were done, on Sunday I already made the first draft for something that I could run next year. And on Monday I met some people at the after party, and we made a draft for another game together in an hour or two. So I have to write that draft. So yeah, it's inspirational.
Mm. I'm curious, since you have a background in academia, I feel like, is failure more appreciated in academia? I don't know because I'm not
I wish.
that much.
So I've been part of the discussion for more than 10 years that publications don't publish papers about failed research, which means that the same research that ends into a failure and a dead end is repeated several times before people learn from mainly either from trying or hearing through the grapevine that this has already been tried and failed. Publications won't want to only publish successes. And that wastes a lot of resources, a lot of people's time, a lot of funding, just repeating the same thing again and again and failing. Because no one wants to read about the failures, even though publishing those and making those failures available and gathering database of failures would be a great benefit for all scientific research. So there's been, I think, 2 tries of getting either a publication just for failures running or making space in some publication to publish failures. But those are, I think, the 2 tries only. And it's I don't know. Scientific publication in any way it's in a crossroads now with the greed of the commercial companies and the monopolies just sucking air out of all of the universities, and then the free publications trying to get the clout, the prestige that people who fund studies would actually appreciate publications in papers that are free.
Yeah, it sounds counterproductive.
Yeah,
I think we need a database only for failures.
Yeah.
I would appreciate that.
And having those published would show the methods that people used to achieve those failures. So if someone wants to repeat, they know that this way failed, but if they have another idea, they know how to try that.
So since you went from studying, very much just studying academic research and this sort of thing, to then doing something with microscopes and being more involved, I guess, in the helping of others
Yes.
with their own research, has it made you feel differently about like education versus experience in doing, and also then going into games and getting to be more creative? You're obviously a very creative person, as I mentioned before.
The main thing that it has made clear to me, the best way really to learn something is to teach it to someone else. And that was really made concrete in the microscopic study, because as I was learning new stuff, I was already teaching it to others, and I was applying my research skills in that. I was basically trying to help everyone with all the questions that they had, with the policy that there's no stupid questions, and we'll try to find some answer to all the questions. So if I didn't know the answer, I went to research it, and then came back with some kind of solution for the users. And that, I think, everyone should do some teaching, or at least explain it to rubber duck or their pet to learn better.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what I did mention before was that your use of Audacity was extremely creative as well. I don't think I've ever seen Audacity used in the paleontology field at all. Like that's pretty cool. I'm sure the creators of Audacity would love to hear about that.
Yeah, I should write them up sometime. I'm pretty sure that people did spectral analysis on this sedimentary data before, but they probably used some scientific software for it, using SPSS or some like expensive statistical software. But I played around with Audacity because I played around with making music. I'm really bad at that, but I did make some noise, and I found out really quickly that the spectral analysis that they have, that module was really good.
I've never thought of that. That's really cool. Like, obviously, I don't really do sound design stuff that much anyway, but I didn't even know that was a thing, that exists.
Yeah, but they did great work on that. I think in all aspects, for free software, Audacity is really great, even these days. This was when I was using it. That was like early 2000, and it's still around.
With such a long road, I guess, to game development, failing the PhD and then arriving into game design, what did you learn from the challenges that you faced?
Ask for help. Talk to your colleagues. So yeah, I was studying stuff, but I was doing it solo. As I was doing my masters, I was helping someone with that. They were going to utilize my research, but I was still doing that solo. that was kind of I was I'm not an asocial person, but I was kind of drawn into my shell, and having to help people and having to talk to people to get help at the microscopy unit really helped me a lot. I would suggest to always ask for help, and career change is not an impossibility, especially if you've already done some either like uh, higher academic studies or some real work, so that you know that you're able to learn more things. If you're coming straight from school, maybe stick to one topic for a while before changing.
Solid advice.
Very sound advice. Fantastic.
So, obviously, this is the After I Failed podcast, so
Mm-hmm.
I have to ask, what's some unhelpful advice that you have or have gotten that you would like to share here?
I don't know, because most of the people have been helpful. I've been lucky to be being around smart people smarter than myself. So mostly I've gotten good advice. But yeah, the one bad one that I think people will hear is when you're thinking about changing careers, people will ask you, "Are you going to make some money?" So people will tell you that you should pick somewhere where you will get rich. So go to banking, go to finance, uh, learn to be a medical doctor or dentist. Uh, yeah, don't do that. Do it only if you really like that field. If you're just working for the money, you'll get burned out at some point.
I'm sure everyone has heard something of that kind. Are you gonna make some money?
Yeah,
How's the pay?
yeah, yeah.
I feel like that's usually what the assumption is when you change career. People assume, there's more money in that field. Not because, you're doing it, because you're more passionate about that other field, or, you're driven and motivated or burned out from your current field. No, it's simply because there's more money. But I also agree with that, Like, I don't agree with the advice. I agree with, pursuing your passion. And, like, sure, maybe the pay might not be as good as what you might have right now. I don't know if that's even possible these days, but the fact is that 2025 is the year of setting healthy boundaries, and sometimes you need to pursue your passions and motivations to actually achieve those boundaries with whatever you're currently doing right now. And
Yeah.
if what you're currently doing right now is burning yourself out, then it's time to reevaluate your priorities.
That's for sure.
Yes, this was fantastic. Excellent. Thank you for being here with us, Jussi. It was
Thank
a
you.
wonderful interview. Wonderful to hear about your journey through the PhD failure and then rising into the game industry. Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, it's really cool to hear that you feel like you've found your place.
Yeah, I'm not just hoping that I will actually able to make some games and get paid enough that I will be able to continue on this field. So I'm gonna have to reevaluate things next year. So if I'm not working in gaming, I will have to look into other work just to be able to feed my family. So that would be unlucky. So I'm hoping to get anything to do in gaming, but let's see, because it's something that I like.
Yeah, thanks, Jussi, for joining us. This was great and it was fantastic. Be sure to check out Jussi's itch.io. Links will be in the description. And be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We'll be doing more of these videos in the future. And if you have experienced a failure, be sure to hit me up on LinkedIn or on any of the socials, also linked in the description. And yeah, thanks for joining. See you again next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.